Welcome back. Kandee G is a talk show host, an author, a speaker, and the founder of Nothing But Good News. And after you hear her speak, you'll feel like you can do anything. Here she is. Kandee G, it's wonderful to have you on this show.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited.
We're really excited to have you here. I mean, you just exude this great positivity. But I want to talk about your life. Let's start with that, because I know that for you, it wasn't always peaches and cream, right?
Which is, it's really very, very true. And, it was a really tough go early on. And it's the piece, Dave, that sent me on my path to do all of the amazing, wonderful things that I get to do today. And I know that we'll talk a little bit about that. But there was a time in my life, and especially one point, where I had lost everything. I mean, I'd lost everything that I had worked for. And I found myself literally a broke, homeless single mother. And this was really a short 20 years ago. I found myself a broke, homeless single mother, and I had been studying aspects of success for a long time. And like most folks, we don't always apply them wholly and fully. And when everything was made to go away, and I was left with this little baby to take care of, I had a little 4-month-old girl, and I was actually down to my last jar of peanut butter in the refrigerator. I mean, I literally opened the refrigerator, there was one jar of peanut butter left. And what was amazing is that was a defining moment for me, because I made a decision. I made a decision that I was never going to be a victim to life circumstances. I was going to be a victor. And I sat back and took an inventory of my life, and maybe I didn't have stuff, but I had about 16 years of study and in principles and laws about how that we really create and manifest things.
Nothing but good news. Tell me about that.
Well, when I began to understand how important our thoughts are and our feelings are to being happy and having joy and creating success and all those things, about 10 years ago, I got really concerned with mainstream media. Let's face it, you turn on right?
Sure.
We know this. And so I wanted one place where folks could hear the good stuff. And Nothing But Good News Radio was born 10 years ago, and I've now been on the air 4 different stations, 10 years. We now produce and publish Nothing But Good News magazine, and they said people wouldn't want to listen to good news, and the truth is we've tracked folks listening to the show in over 200 countries.
200 countries?
I know.
What kind of good news is it?
Whatever is good news. I've done good news on the Iraq War. I've done good news on the election. I've done good news on the economy. I've done good news on the Virginia Tech tragedy. No matter what you look at, there's good news in there somewhere. And now what happens, because I've been so established and on the air for so long, I get probably 40 to 50 requests a week to be on the show.
Do you get any pushback, though, on some of these topics? You just mentioned Virginia Tech, and then I thought about the Boston Marathon. Mm-hmm. Maybe you covered that, I don't know. But when you take a really sad topic and you try to spin it and put the good news in it, are people like, why are we celebrating this? Why? There is no good news.
I had, there was somebody who was on the campus that day, and he approached me about doing a good news story, because we take a look at all different topics and different people to bring on. And can I tell you, it was so compelling that in the station that day, everybody stopped working, came into the studio, and you could just see people behind the glass just crying, because it was amazing to hear his point of view and all the really great things that happened. It was like, yay, give me some goodness in this sadness.
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, let's talk about your corporate vision training. This is pretty cool.
Well, all of this is all born out of the same thing, all back to the things that I'd been studying and what I applied to my life to be able to create real success for myself and my beautiful baby girl, who is now 20, by the way. And people started asking me, like, how did you create success? What did you do? And so I started developing a program based on what I did myself and researching it and putting it together. And the more it grew and the more it grew, and I stepped out and approached some very enlightened CEOs and HR directors and said, let me show you what I've got. And some folks said, yeah, let's do this. And I now have companies I've been inside training for almost 8 years. They won't let me go. We've had companies that have come back from bankruptcy. It's incredible, because we teach folks how to utilize the incredible power of our minds and our feelings to be able to attract people, situations, opportunities.
What is the sort of elevator pitch on how you do that corporate-wide? Because, man, anyone that's worked in a big building with a bunch of office people knows that you could just get sort of lost in the minutia every day and disappear.
Right, and what's really exciting is because we've got companies that have thousands of folks that bring this in, and what happens, it goes all the way down to the little guy, which is amazing. And I guess that elevator pitch really is about, what is your corporate culture? Does the person who greets your clients in the front of the house, do they know what your corporate culture is? Have you established a corporate culture? Do you have a vision for your company that everyone knows knows, and 99% of the time people look at me cross-eyed and say no. And so that I'll come in and show them what I do, and then, like I said, the folks that are very enlightened and want to create that ideal workplace and want to be able to have, again, a bigger vision of themselves and to be able to share it with all their employees, those are the ones that ask us to come in.
So the ideal workplace, what is that like? Twister all day and 3-hour lunches, go home at 2 p.m.?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Man, I was hoping you were going to say yes to that.
No, the ideal workplace is having folks that realize that every single person counts. And what they do is it's a mix of mastery, autonomy, and purpose. And you teach the folks that work for you that they have control over their own life, because folks want to do a good job. That is the truth. We're talking about intrinsic rewards as opposed to old school carrot and stick management.
Right.
Autonomy, being able to do things on their own without people standing over their head, and purpose, allowing folks to know that they're part of something bigger.
Sure.
And those are the things that we're finding today really, really make an extraordinary difference in the workplace.
Okay, and the last thing is I want to ask you about your book. I know that some of what we talked about is contained in here, right?
Very much. The book, it's titled Now Boarding, Next Stop, Your Remarkable Life, and it's geared for the individual, but it does contain a lot of the things that we teach inside the Corporate Vision Program, but it's to help folks understand how to create a vision for their own life, and then how to stay incredibly on track so that those things really do begin to show up and manifest for you. The world that we live in is strangely and wildly accommodating. We just have to learn how to focus in that direction.
It was so great talking to you. I really
you.
feel invigorated.
Oh, good.
Last thing, if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do it?
Kandeeg.com. That's KANDEEG.com.
That's so easy. Good to meet you.
Thank you.
And come on back.
Thank you.
Okay,
Will
thanks
do.
a lot. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kandee. When we come back, there is a new art space that's open in the Wynwood district in Miami, and they've got an exhibit with some lost photographs of Frida Kahlo. We'll give you all the details and then some when we come back.